welcome to the session in the Buyer Insights and Intelligence series. My name is Andrew Gaffney. I'm editorial director with Demand Gen Report. Really glad you could join us. We got a great session to close things out. We've been publishing Demand Gen Report for a little over a decade, and from the beginning, a lot of marketers and Demand Gen marketers got very reliant on forms as a way to engage hand raisers to show interest. Unfortunately, it's becoming kind of an outdated idea, procedure. It's really getting in the way of converting and of engaging people, particularly long forms. So today on the session, we're going to be talking about conversational marketing, which is a really hot and emerging trend and a new approach. We got some brand new research, the 2019 conversational marketing state of, that's going to be shared. And we're also going to share some examples of how to do conversational marketing. And we've got two great speakers that are going to be walking us through that. So the session for today is forget about forms, improving the customer experience with conversations. As with all sessions in the series, we'd like to try to make this as interactive as possible. So please share any of the research that you see on your social networks. We're going to be monitoring that and sharing it, reposting as well. If you could use the hashtag BII19, we'll keep an eye on that. And as I said, share that out with our networks. You'll see some of the handles for our speakers today if you want to include that in some of your posts. With all the sessions in the series, we've been offering a prize pack. So attending today will increase your chances of winning some of the cool prizes we're offering. Those include passes to our upcoming B2B Sales and Marketing Exchange, which is going to be up here in Boston next month at the brand new Encore, which is where I'm coming to you from today. So you can share, stay active, and you'll have a chance to win some of these cool prizes. At the end of the presentation, we're going to save time for questions. Go ahead and type any questions you have right into the On24 dashboard. As I said, we're going to save those for the end. If we don't get to your question, we'll ask our speakers to follow up with you directly. Also, within the On24 dashboard, you can monitor social media posts, and also there's some related resources that you can access following up on today's topic and conversation. One of the frequently asked questions we get is, this is being recorded. You'll get a link to go back and review it or share it with your peers. So with that, let me jump into the topic and introduce today's speakers who are really helping to lead the charge on conversational marketing. Mark Killens is VP of Content and Community at Drift. He leads, his team helps to teach people how to transform businesses from businesses with conversational marketing and sales. He previously was VP and founder of HubSpot Academy, where he built the HubSpot Academy from the ground up, and in doing so has educated millions of people and created a best-in-class hub of marketing and sales education. He's going to be joining Kate Adams. Kate is Senior Director of Demand Gen at Drift. Kate is passionate about aligning marketing with sales and product teams in order to create fully integrated marketing campaigns across all platforms to maximize both revenue and growth. Kate strives to bring businesses and brands to life in the hearts and minds of prospects and customers by creating and delivering valuable, compelling content for each stage of the customer lifecycle. So, Mark, Kate, thanks for joining me today. We're really excited to get into the research and some of these examples.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Kate.
Excited to be here. I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
All right, folks, let's dive right in. We're going to start, though, with some observations. Before we dive into this amazing research report collected from about 1,100 people, their responses, we want to just take a step back, talk about what's going on around us today. Okay, you value a couple things when you're looking to buy something, right?
A lot of things, but yeah, okay. I'm excited to hear about the couple that I value most.
What are the couple? Yeah. What do you really value when you're looking to buy something? From another business, you buy a lot of software, the Demand Gen marketer, but even in your personal life, like what are some of the things that really matter to you?
That it's easy, right? That I don't have to jump through hoops to do it. And also that the process is really clear and I understand where I am in that process.
You're looking really for a great experience. More than anything. Absolutely.
I think that speaks to not only what I'm buying, but who I'm buying it from.
It's all about how well the business can communicate with you. So we also noticed, hey, what was something you recently? Yeah.
This is like, we're going live right now. Live. Something I recently bought.
Yeah, what do you think?
Personal or?
You can pick.
Let's see. I recently bought.
Are you blanking?
I
can help.
What?
I can help.
All right. Yeah, I'm blanking on this one. I don't know.
We bought a new camera.
Okay.
We bought a new camera. We wanted to take some new video of things going around us in our lives, personal lives, family. And I think what we found when we bought this camera, Again, I'm still going to ask you the question, so
Okay.
be prepared.
Yeah.
We noticed there was a plethora of options for us when we went to buy that camera.
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane. And like, even like about how we could buy it. Like, we went to a high-end camera store. We looked at Amazon, obviously. We looked at some camera sites. There's just so many options. And the other thing we noticed was, as we started to dig into what we could buy, where we could buy it, the information that was coming at us about this camera, it was honestly overwhelming. Like, because we're not camera experts. We don't even know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, we were looking for a provider, a business, someone who could help us understand why we should buy a particular camera, how is it going to like meet our needs, what we should buy, So I don't know. I mean, it was for me, it's just crazy. And like in business today, your buyers have the same thing going on. All this information going on. They have all these different options, right? It's crazy. You have a thing though that you bought?
Yeah. So professionally, we bought referral software recently, a software to help us track referrals from our current customers, which I'm super pumped and excited about. And then actually, in my personal life, we actually just bought a new car seat. We've got a little guy at home, and he's not so little, and so he has graduated out of one car seat, and so we had to transition to the other. And the process was exactly the same, right? There was information everywhere, and so I went to like both professionally and personally. Like, there were so many similarities to that purchasing process, and I think that's key. We talk a lot about that here at Drift, which is I'm not Kate the demand gen marketer from 9 to 5, and then Kate the mom from 5 to 9 a.m. the next day, right? I'm the same person. And so my process, whether I'm buying a car seat or buying referral software, is very, very similar.
You basically, whenever you want something, you now can access that information or that product.
Yeah, absolutely.
We call this like welcome to now. And it's a great point. Kate and I, have a lot of things going on during the day. Mm-hmm. Are we always going to just look for a business solution from 9 to 5 when we're at our office?
I can tell you right now, that's not at all true. For the referral software, I went and looked at reviews at I think it was 8:30 at night at different referral software solutions. And so it was all about now, right? And actually the sales rep that we were working with was super responsive all the time, and it was super easy to get answers to my.
So going back to that first slide, it was convenient for you, and they provided you a way to communicate when you wanted to get some type of like information or a conversation started.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the other thing we noticed, and actually this is now leading into the report. We're going to go into the report in just about a moment's time. Expectations is going up and up and up and up. We expect everything now. We expect a lot of options. We expect a lot of information. But how is you, a business, going to help someone sift through, sort through all of that stuff? It's crazy. When someone comes to your website, there's so much stuff coming at them.
And the other thing I think is it has been super fractured for a long time, where I think B2B takes an approach where we think, oh, this is B2B, so this process looks like this, whereas a consumer-driven process looks like this. And I think those two things are melding, which I think speaks to this point, which is that is what is elevating expectations. Which is people want their buying experience to be the same no matter where they are.
We've been trained by Apple, Google, Amazon. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like now it's all just merging too. So let's talk briefly before we go into the data from this huge study we did. What is conversational marketing?
It is the fastest way for buyers to buy from businesses, right? And move through the marketing and sales. We talk about this all the time, right? That right now the buying process is broken. Us as marketers, and I can speak to this because I am one of those demand gen marketers. I think we've lost our way a little bit. We have been optimizing for MQLs or MQAs, depending on what model you're working off of today. And so we looked at this and we were like, oh, this is all about filling up my CRM and all about qualifying. And then finally I'll pass to a salesperson.
Yep.
And that is just fundamentally broken, right? Like we've forgotten that these are people on the other end. They're not CRM records. They're not MQLs. They're people. And so they want to have a conversation, and we need to start optimizing for conversations, not for CRM records, not for a vanity metric of the MQLs, but for conversations. That's why we're all here every day.
Exactly. And that's why we looked at the state of conversational marketing. And this is not from the point of view of businesses. This is from the point of view of consumers, people, hot off the press. I mean, this was just released, Kate.
In fact, I think we just got out of embargo that we can actually start talking about it. So I'm super pumped that you guys get, that we've given you first access to this information.
This is awesome. And we did it in collaboration with SurveyMonkey. They were hugely helpful. So we surveyed about 1,100 people all across the United States, ranging in ages from 18 to 65. A really good, diverse sample of people, okay? And we found some interesting things. And this is all about how people are interacting with businesses. How do they want to learn about products? How do they want to, talk to businesses, have that communication with businesses? So let's dive right in. First thing we found, Kate, forms. I bet you folks use forms, right? I mean,
who doesn't use forms, right? Like everybody uses. If you're a marketer today, you use forms.
And what we found was there is a deep decrease in the number of people using forms, and actually more people prefer chatbots over forms. And this is going to start to really show a picture around how are you as a business able to capture someone's attention and intent the moment they land on your website, right? And connect with them right then and there. Because that's what they're expecting. That's what the data is telling us. So 14% of the people surveyed preferred forums over chatbots. 86% want chatbots.
Yeah, that's not surprising. I mean, who looks at a form right now and is like, wow, I can't wait to fill this one out and submit it, right? It's like, it's so much information, and it's just repetitive, and it's super annoying.
It's silly. Let's go deeper, though. Let's go deeper. So which of these would stop you from using a chatbot? So, right, people like chatbots, right? We found that they really like chatbots. And Kate, what is a chatbot really quick, in case people don't realize what we're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. So a chatbot is a way to start a, right? Mm-hmm. So at Drift in our products, we call it playbooks or chatbots. And so either one, right? It's a way to start a conversation. And it's a very, very, way more interactive experience where you can accomplish the same thing you're trying to accomplish with the form, but make it way more interactive and way more helpful and convenient for the person on the other end.
The convenience thing is key because you give people options. A form is like static, is linear.
Yeah.
The chatbot, you can have like really options involved.
Yeah. The other thing I love about chatbots is that you can get really playful with it. I've seen some interesting use cases where people do this with forms, but it's way more difficult, and it's because of the static nature of it.
Yep.
But with chatbots, you're actually able to like ask a question, give people an option, and then put them down single path, right? And then, but you can be really so much more playful about it, which is like on our pricing page, I think our chatbot recognizes if you've come back a second or third time, and it's like, wow, Mark, you're back again. Things must be getting serious. And so like the playful nature of that, I find really fun.
Love that. Plus, that's just like a more personal thing you just said. Welcoming them back. They've come to your site. So we looked at 2018 versus 2019 data. We did the study last year. 26% in 2018 said, forums are okay, still use them. 14% this. Going down.
That's a stark decrease.
The next thing we saw, email, right? So chatbots and forums, right? Forums are very like async, right? It's like, man, you might have to wait a day, a week, maybe never hear back from the company.
I think the other study we did was like 58% of companies follow up, only 58%, which means like there is an incredible amount of folks that are coming in through these forms that just never get followed up with at all.
Which is so sad.
It's so sad.
So like email, obviously we all use email. We're like, how many people are still using email? Because like we hear so many times as marketers, Kate, email's like dying.
Yeah. The email is dead headline is so overused, but I see it over and over and over again.
Email is number one in terms of the last 12 months, like the way you're communicating with organizations, right? And if you look at online chat, and like actually let's talk about this. You see chatbots at 17%, online chat at 33%. what is the difference between like online chat and chatbot?
Yeah, so I think how I like to think about this is chatbots help you start conversations, and then online chat is where you have a human on the other side that actually then enables that conversation, right? So chatbots can let you figure out what people want to talk about, if they're the right fit for you, all of these, like if they're the right fit for you and if you're the right fit for them, right? And then also then you can then pass that on and direct it into an online chat channel that's more appropriate for them. So for example, if you have a support team, like if you have a customer who comes in and they have a question, use the chatbot then to direct them into the support chat.
Yep.
Whereas like if you have somebody who's more interested in just getting started or seeing how your product works, direct them into your sales.
Exactly. Don't let a human do that. That's not useful.
That's crazy.
So actually, one thing we want to call out, and you'll see some examples at the end, using email, and I know you use this today, using email to direct someone to a website page that has a chatbot on it or live chat is a highly effective way to, again, start that conversation.
Well, it's also about like keeping the conversation going, right? So you started the conversation with email, and then you can build in that email context into the chatbot once you've driven that traffic to the site.
Love that.
Super interesting and fascinating. The other thing, just to pause on this one, the thing I find super fascinating here is like if you were to look at when email was first invented, right, which I think was in the 70s. I can't remember. Or when Alexander Graham Bell like invented the telephone, and then when websites got invented. But then you look at that and you say, whoa, online chat is pretty new, right? But it's already in the fourth place. And if you were to combine online chat with chatbots, I mean, that would be really, really close to being the same as the preferred method or the method people are using as the telephone, which is incredible, right? Like to me, this data almost says like online chat and chatbots are eating the world.
I agree. And actually, the next slide can even, and the next data point shows us even better. We asked about, are you increasing usage of these channels or decreasing or staying the same? Email, 33% said they're using it more.
Yeah.
And then actually look at online live chat, just 2 points behind, 31%.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it's really, I think that this is like, and we talked about expectations elevating, I think a couple of slides ago, but like this has now become an expectation. Right?
Exactly. I mean, look at chatbots going up 24%. I mean, mail, but see, actually, let me pause on the letter thing really quick.
Yeah.
You're doing some direct mail campaigns.
Yeah.
Because less people are doing it. So
totally. So we when somebody zigs, we try to zag, and so. And I think a lot of businesses are finding this too, which is like the older channels are coming. It was like we ran away from them. Now we're taking a completely new slant.
Yep, love it. So again, going back to convenience, are chatbots the best way to help someone? And we looked at 24-hour service, which we both care a lot about as buyers. I'm sure you folks care about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? It doesn't matter. You might be surfing online at 6 a.m. or 11 a.m.
All about now,
Your business better be ready to respond, to help, versus just general convenience. And if you look at the different channels, look at online chat. Number one in terms of convenience. So when a human is helping another human, I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing, right? Because the best part about it, in my opinion, is that like, I can have a conversation with somebody without having to get on the phone because maybe there's other things going on around me where a phone call's not convenient.
Yep.
And so that makes it so much more powerful where I can have like a conversation but not and get answers right away. Right?
Exactly. And then chatbots, Kate, were number one for 24-hour service. It goes back to your point about the chatbot being ready to engage and like kind of understand that person. And then if someone is online, let's get them to a human.
Yeah. If not, right?
Yeah.
So if not, we can actually then just schedule that conversation for them, which is so much more powerful too, which is like, I'm actually okay. Like I realize that like people go to bed, right? Like that we can't all be on 24 hours a day.
You sleep?
Very rarely. That's what I drink. But I think what I am okay with is at least if I can set myself up for like, okay, at least I can set up that meeting for like tomorrow morning when they are back in the office. And we hear it from customers all the time or receive the tweets, which I love. It's my one of my favorite parts about being connected to Drift is like the tweets that say, oh my gosh, I was on another demo call and my chatbot booked a meeting for me, or I was on vacation and my chatbot booked 10 meetings for me while I was there. It's like awesome, like soak up the sun and then come back and have your calendar full, like live in.
And we actually looked at this. Do you remember the data point?
No, I don't think I remember.
We looked at all of Drift's customers and when they're booking meetings. 1/3 of all meetings booked through Drift happen offline, so not between 9 and 5.
Powerful.
A lot. All right, let's keep going. So much good data. The perception of talking to a human versus using a chatbot. So you should never try to fake someone out. If it's a bot, tell them it's a bot. That's like golden rule, you know.
Yeah.
But some people kind of make that mistake. And again, looking at the customer experience now and looking at like the friendliness. So this is more about just the holistic experience, how well the communication is happening. Look at online chat right behind telephone for having a good customer experience.
That's access, right? It's access. And this speaks to, I think, the inconvenient factor of forms and why like 14% of people are like on board with forms, right? Like this speaks to like, I don't want to fill out a form so that you can put me in your CRM, you can process my data, you can understand if I'm qualified, depending on your data source, not the ones I provided to you.
Yeah.
And then like maybe you'll have somebody call me back when they get back from lunch, or they do this or they do that, right? It's like, no, I want to talk to somebody now, or I want to schedule a meeting now. I need that help now. I need that answer now.
A great point. Forms is not even on this chart. It was so low, we actually had to cut it out.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
it's crazy. And I still think there's a huge opportunity for chatbots. Like, it's a competitive advantage for you folks to use chatbots now because so few businesses are using them. Right? Like, I mean, if you think about it, right? Like, think about who's using chatbots in your industry. If people want to use chatbots, as the data is saying, and your competitors aren't, I mean, that's interesting.
It's a big competitive differentiator for sure.
Definitely. All right, so how about response time? I mean, this isn't that shocking, but we had it included because it was something that we all care about. Like, when you want to talk to someone, you want to talk. I mean, obviously face to face. If someone doesn't respond to you face to face, like,
that would be really weird. That would actually make for a really terrible webinar.
Exactly. But look at chatbots right behind face to face. So this actually goes into a discussion that we can have now around, you got to make sure, though, you respond quickly if you do use chatbots, or really just like live online chat or the live chat. Chatbots are going to take care of the response for you, but if you're using online live chats, you want to make sure that like you don't ignore people.
100%. I think that we are always closely measuring that. I'm actually measure that on a daily and hourly basis at Drift. And so like, yeah, 100%. We need to be you have to get back to people right away. Like the worst thing that you could do would be to set an expectation that you have chat, that you're going to answer somebody's question and then just leave them on their own. That's just terrible.
Exactly. And to the point about chatbots being someone wants an immediate response, you said something about you want them to be engaging.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they 100% need to be engaging, and they need to be, it needs to flow like a conversation, right? Like it needs to flow as if that's happening in real time. It can't just, you don't want to make it be a form, right? So you don't want to turn your chatbot into a form, which is like name : and then have somebody chat back their name, right?
So
like street : and then have them do that. Like that is not what you want to do. It's like, okay, awesome. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you for some like just simple information. And then after that, set the expectation what the next step is. From there, I'm going to connect you to like the right person, right? Like, so from there, I'm going to connect you with my friend Mark, who's going to hook you up with X, Y, and Z, right?
Exactly. And we actually have a framework that we're going to show you in a moment to actually learn how to do that. A couple more data points. This is just something we wanted to look at because I think about it. Like, I'm a millennial. I'm top of the range millennial. I'm like mid-30s. Like, I snuck in, Kate. I technically like snuck into the millennial thing.
Okay.
My parents are definitely baby boomers. My dad's almost 70. My mom's like high 60s.
Yeah.
I grew up with messaging, like AOL messaging.
Yeah.
I mean, you were using it, AOL messaging.
Absolutely.
They did not. So is there a big difference? We thought maybe there would be. Actually, everyone cares about these things. Like everyone cares about getting 24-hour service. Like humans are humans. It doesn't matter like, oh, I'm a baby boomer or I'm like 70 versus 30. Like whoever you sell to, chatbots, live chat, something you should be using. And then we looked at even just in terms of younger customers based off of usage of chatbots. This did have some differences though, right? Like if you look at it, this is by industry, and we have a different slide coming up that cuts the industry a little bit simpler. It's the last data point we'll show you. There is a drop off if you look at this from left to right. That 18 to 34-year-olds are definitely using chatbots more than some of these folks in their 40s or maybe 50s. So again, if you're definitely selling to that younger generation that's growing up with messaging, that expects everything to be convenient and fast and have a great experience, you really should be using these.
Yeah, I mean, but you could also look at this a little bit differently and think 18 to 34, those are the folks that you're going to be selling to in the very near future. So if you are not offering this, you're not ready to do business with those folks.
Yes.
Because this is going to only grow, right? And so that even the communities behind them, the age groups behind the 18 to 24, they're going to even have a much huge expectation. So like you need to be prepared because the 34-year-olds, they're making buying decisions now, right? Like they are purchasing in every industry, right? And so like you've got to start, you have to think about that.
I'm so glad you made that point. Get ahead. That's awesome. Absolutely. All right, and one last slide. Just again, this is the last thing before we go into some examples. This is looking at which industries are using chatbots in terms of engaging with their and out of these 1,100 people, Kate, these are the different industries they're mostly using chatbots with. I think it's just a greenfield, right? It's I mean, retailing obviously is number one. I mean, Amazon is basically, again, train people, right? Like if you think about it.
100%.
But like software, we're in a software business. Software as a service. 14% said they've engaged with a software business using a chatbot. I mean,
it's just a huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity. Another study that we did also showed that, or I don't know if it was our study or if it was somebody else's, but that folks are more likely, or like 7 times more likely to do business with the company that gets back to them first.
Yes.
Like 7x more likely, which is fascinating to me, right? But that is also, it's because it makes you feel like they care about you, right? They want to do business with you. Yep. They care about your business. And so like, if you are quick at getting back to them, like that makes a ton of sense. I just think there's huge opportunity here. This just says, and by the way, I think often what we see in trends for marketing, it always starts in direct to consumer and then it comes into B2B. So to me, this is just saying like, oh, okay, got it. This is happening in retail now. And now it's going to proliferate itself across the industry.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Love it. All right, folks. We're going to spend the next 10 minutes or so going through some examples of what do these bots, chatbots, look like? And then how can they help you then take someone who's engaging with the chatbot and move them into a real-life conversation, real-time conversation with someone, or schedule a meeting? Yeah. You can do both.
Yeah.
You should definitely do both. So we built this conversational framework, engage, understand, recommend. So let's walk you through it as it relates to a real bot. So we got 2 examples here. Kate, what do you love about these 2 examples? I got some of my thoughts on this, but these are 2 different chatbots. They're both on 2 different website pages, 2 different businesses. And what stands out to you as it relates to how well this bot is engaging with the website?
They ask a question right off the bat, right? And so to me, I come and I see this as a visitor, and either like I am compelled to answer that question, which is super. Which both of these folks, both of these customers, I know them well, have done the work and done the study on this. And we've done it specifically, and which is why we guide our customers this, which is questions are just so engaging. It's hard to resist answering a question.
And make it a specific question. Like this first one is about exactly what this business can help you do if you're interested in that type of solution. Instead of just saying, hey, how's it going? Mm-hmm. Or hey, any questions? Like,
how can I help?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know. How can you help? I have no idea.
And I love how the other one below it knows this is kind of a first-time visitor. They haven't been to the website much. You can actually do that with Drift, target really specifically.
Yeah.
And it says, hey, welcome to the site.
Right.
Love the use of emojis too, because don't kid yourself. We all use emojis.
Everybody.
Everyone.
Got one from my mom the other day, which was pretty surreal.
There you go. So now that you've engaged them into a conversation, right, to Kate's point, you started the conversation with them using the chatbot. How does the chatbot then help you understand more about the person to see if this person is ready or even wants to have a conversation with you? So this is the understand piece. These examples are basically 2 examples that are helping you as a business marketer, business owner, whomever, qualify Kate or disqualify. Kind of how you want to think about it to some degree.
Yeah, and so this is what, going back to my point earlier, this is how you use chatbots to accomplish the same thing a form is providing you, but make it far more engaging, right? So we engaged with the question, and now we can get into like, okay, perfect. I'm going to help you with this, but let me give you a couple options. Let me give you a pick of ways that so that I can direct you down the right path.
Exactly. And we'll show you a full, like, actual blown out chatbot in a moment. We got some GIFs, not GIFs, GIFs coming up.
Yeah, the other thing, sorry, can we go back?
Yeah, let's do one.
One thing here is also, I think, maybe something we haven't spoken enough about was we also use this to not only qualify or understand more about the person on the other end, but we also use this so that we can direct them to the right information. It's not always just about like, hey, routing you to the right person. I think, and there was actually data that we found in that study, I think we cut it out of here, but that one of the biggest reasons or biggest frustrations for people is like finding the information, right?
True.
Like they went to these websites and they were like, I cannot find the information. And I think that's hard for us as designers, as web developers, as marketers to understand, like, no matter how much you spend, no matter how much time you spend in UI and UX, that like people just have different varying expectations on where to go to find this. Right? And they just all navigate sites differently. And so I think one of the ways that we do it on our site is on our case studies page, right? Which is like, I'm not asking you this information so that I can put you in a bucket and route you to the right rep. Actually, I'm asking you information about what industry you're in if I don't already know it, because I want to help you navigate my case studies page and show you the most relevant case studies for you.
I love that. It's like the personal concierge guiding them to the right thing for them.
Absolutely.
As part of that overall experience.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. And then the last piece, which goes into the recommendation.
Oh, perfect.
You're recommending the right content. Or you're recommending, hey, you're free now? You want to live chat with someone? We have 2 amazing conversational development reps. They're live chatting every day with people.
They are.
So yeah, the recommendation can be a number of things to. It could be content. It could just be an idea. Sign up for the blog. It could be sign up for the newsletter.
Attend an event. Here's a webinar that might be relevant to you. Here's an ebook that we just published on, I don't know, like the automotive industry. Like, here's how this can be helpful to you. I think that this is super powerful.
And you can get even a little bit more sophisticated. We're not going to spend too much time on this now because it gets a little tricky, but like you could almost create a couple of different types of recommendations within a bot flow, like an endless type funnel. Like you serve them up with one thing, but then say, oh, hey, by the way, are you also interested in this?
Yeah,
based, so
the upsell, right? And that's a steal. That's a rip right out of Amazon, right out of direct to consumer, which is Amazon does an amazing job at this. Which is people who bought this also bought that, right? And like I have been a victim of this over and over and over again, which is like one thing in my cart becomes 3, and 3 things in my cart becomes 6, because it's like, oh yeah, you're right. If I do buy that car seat, I should probably also buy the cover for it, and I should also buy this cool snazzy like toy thing that snaps onto it, all these things, right? And so that is that endless funnel, which is like, oh, thanks for signing up for this. Are you also interested in this piece? Like, that's totally a rip from direct to consumer.
Spot on. All right, so 3 examples, and then we'll wrap it up. We got our friends at Keep. Love Keep, used to be called Infusionsoft. They did a rebrand. This is just an awesome bot. This is on their homepage, Kate. And they use this bot extensively. The reason I like this bot is it actually follows something that we really believe in at Drift, Robert Cialdini's principles of industry. So this bot has an offer. It's a offer, though, that has urgency. Like, you have to take advantage of it today, right? It's 50% off Keep for the first 3 months, I believe. It's like, wow. right? And they know who they're targeting with this bot too, right? So like there's specific people they're targeting on the homepage with this bot, and that's important, right? Because you don't want to make it
100%. You don't want to blanket offer everybody.
No, they know these people are probably interested in this. And they use emojis. They have a GIF in the bot. See how engaging it is, folks?
Yeah, show me a form that can do this, right? This is what I find is super interesting. And this is why I think people prefer this method over a form, or why people are just running away in droves from forms. Is like, if I can have this, or I can have a 10 field form to fill out. Like, oh, by the way, with like a Google authentication where I have to pick out all the stoplights from all the images. Like, oh my gosh, right? Like, how many times have I been through that cycle? Like, no, this is so much better. Keep does an amazing job. They're super talented.
This is fantastic. We got 2 more examples. People like think, Kate, can I use a chatbot on the blog? Does it make sense? Yes, it definitely does. Yeah. It definitely makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because like, think about it. A blog is an educational resource. You can have tons of different people coming to your blog, though.
Yeah.
At different points in the buying process.
Absolutely. Well, and it's often like a very top of funnel play too. And so it's a great way to start engaging people who are just early on in the process.
Yes.
Who are just starting to think about you and your solution and the problems you can help them solve.
Snowflake does a great job. See how simple it is? I mean, it's an engaging question and responses. Do you want to sign up? I mean, that took that person 5 seconds. Type in the email address. Right. You're done.
Absolutely.
And you can use social proof in these examples, like, hey, join 50,000 of our other blog subscribers. Get this every week. Oh, here, you want to see what this looks like? I've seen this once. Take a look at our latest blog newsletter, just what it looks like.
Yeah, I love that.
There's so many different things.
That because you can just show the proof points as they're going along. I was actually on, we did a webinar with G2 yesterday, G2 crowd. And so we talked about similar experiences there. You're talking about social proof, but in one of our bots, right, we're saying like, hey, do you want to know why we were voted #1 in conversational marketing by people who use, by our customers, right? And like pull those social proof points into that.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, one more example. Everyone better have a pricing page, right? Because you want it to be convenient. Going back to, again, what we said in the beginning, if you don't have a pricing page, Kate, that thing's going, it's like shady almost. Or it's like not convenient. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it definitely is perceived as shady. I've spoken with some folks, different businesses who don't have a pricing page, and some people have like real legit reasons for not doing it, and that's okay. But I do think it definitely is perceived as being non-transparent. I don't have a lot of confidence in folks that may not do that, because it's like, why is this like a guessing game, and why do I need to speak to somebody? I think it's super important. Even if you can't say like your price is going to be X, you should be like starting at Y or 100%. Whatever.
And why do people go to a pricing page, Kate?
Because they are very, very interested in buying, right? And that's another huge benefit from having a pricing page, is that it is indicative of telling you who within your database, within your site visitors, are the most
100%. And this is a great example of, look, someone's not available right now to have that live conversation, but they're dropping the meeting link right inside the bot. Look how easy it is. Comes, like, yes, I want that. Okay. Come on, wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, I thought it was further down the flow. There it is. All right, just had to show that. All right, folks, we're at the end. Huge thank you, but we have something really exciting coming up, Kate.
Super exciting. I am so pumped about this. It's amazing.
Big thing happening July 30th. It is 9 hours of just amazing marketing content from the top marketing leaders out in the B2B space. Kate, why are you so excited about this? I mean, we got people from all types of businesses, Dappy, Owl. We got people from ETC talking about event marketing strategies. We got people talking about budgets. You're doing a session with someone on budgets.
Yeah,
I mean, how to build a marketing budget.
Yep. I'm so pumped, because it's just, I think it can be hard as a marketer. I'm always interested in knowing if I'm doing things like the exact right way, and like level setting on how are other people doing it.
Yes.
And so like, how is somebody at any of those companies that you just talked about, how do they think about their event strategy? How should I be thinking about my event strategy? How should I be thinking about organizing my budget? You know what I mean? Like, there's all this stuff out there. all these things. And I think things are changing so quickly. You just talked about how things are changing so quickly and expectations are changing so quickly. I am always so concerned of like, am I doing this right? How can I be doing it better? How can I be upping my game? How can I get better every single day? And like, I have this agenda is jam-packed with just so much value.
We have more than 1,200 people signed up already. So please,
my question is, why aren't you signed?
Exactly what I was going to say. Please join us. All right, folks, that's it. Thank you so much. Andrew, I think you said questions maybe answer?
Yeah, thanks, Mark and Kate. Great sharing the research, great examples. Really, actually, a bunch of questions coming in. We'll spend about 10 minutes covering as many as we can. First one we had from Laura was she'd been looking at adding chat, and she just wants some sort of building block ideas on getting started, what's required to get started, or ideas on how to get started.
Yeah, you want to take that one or you want me to?
You can start, go ahead.
Laura, love it. Awesome. We're excited that you want to get started. I think if I were you, I'd just dive right in, right? And so we always talk about maybe like a crawl, walk, run approach to this, which is like, let's get started with chat. Let's put it on like your highest intent pages first. So for us, that would probably be like your feature pages, definitely your pricing page, which we talked about earlier.
100%.
And what else?
I would probably do homepage because there's a lot of traffic. Might want to do homepage. It depends on usually 3 pages. Contact us, pricing, feature.
Yeah, yes. Wherever you are driving a significant amount of traffic that you hope to convert to a form.
Yeah.
So like you just get started with the pricing bot, the second net bot, which is the bot that we think about, like put it on your form, on your contact us form. You know that like 81% of people are going to run away just when they see that form. You can immediately impact the number of leads you're generating by just putting chat on that page.
You basically say, hey, want to skip the form and talk to
the line.
Exactly. It's like Dave Gerhardt has a great example of that. Instead of waiting in line for your coffee, just order it mobily.
Yeah.
Skip the line.
I haven't waited in line for coffee in a long time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good question.
All right. Another question from Stephanie. You guys talked about different industries examples. She said she's got her company is kind of a hybrid. It's in that B2B and B2C. And she's asking, can it apply for both, and any examples of differences for each side?
Oh, it definitely can apply for both. I think this is the power of Drift. You can get so specific. We have something called the conversational marketing blueprint. And you can get so specific with how you build bots. But again, start simple. But as you learn how to build bots, you can target people based off of a ton of different things. You know, we integrate with marketing automation platforms. We integrate with CRM platforms. There are so many ways you can use data to say who's coming to this page, why are they on this page, even maybe where they came from. Yeah. Right? Maybe they came from an email campaign, to Kate's earlier point, and we're going to tailor a specific conversation, design a specific chatbot just for those different types of people.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all about like what page are they on, what is the source that they came from, and what are they there, what's their objective.
Yep.
And so you can understand so much of that through integrating with your marketing automation platform, because you already know these people, so you know if they're in the B2B or B2C.
Yep.
You can do that from different ad campaigns, right? So we do this on our LinkedIn ad campaigns and our Facebook campaigns, which is like, thanks so much for coming all the way over here from Facebook. Like, we're super excited to get you started with our starter kit offer, stuff like that. So using that context, but yes, 100%, you can totally use it in both use cases for your business and direct them into down with whichever is most appropriate.
And one last thing, because we didn't really talk about it, you can use the parameters, the different fields, if you want to think of it like that, in those different systems to personalize the chatbot conversations.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
add first
100%.
name, email, not email, but company name, things like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. A question from Jeff. He pointed out he's a demand gen marketer. He wanted to see if you could cover a little bit more about how bots chat can integrate with email. And also he asked if you still use forms in some cases.
Yeah. So there at Drift, I love a challenge. And so I'm like, I don't know, I think I might be like one of 10 demand gen marketers that don't use forms at all. And so that's because we have a much better alternative with Drift itself and with chatbots and with chat. But I will say, like, you'll find 2 forms on our site, essentially. And they're both only because e-commerce transactions. And so we haven't worked that into our chatbot flows yet, but I'm hoping that the folks upstairs are working on that as we speak. And so that's the only use case we have for forms. But our expectation is not that every single marketer out there goes and rips out every form that they have.
It's too much.
It's a huge complement to forms. It's a huge play on that. So I think it's so much value.
I'll say this, though. We just built a new template, and we saw some crazy things for the webinars we do. We embedded a chat bot, a simple widget, instead of a form, right? So you have a landing page. Imagine the form being replaced with the chat bot that you saw, and that landing page was a 44% conversion rate from people who landed on it, signed up for the webinar. That is equivalent to best-in-class forums. My past job, I was at HubSpot. On our webinar pages, we would get 35% to 50% conversion rate. We have 44% here at Driftcade. I mean, like...
It's huge, and that's without a form, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, and it's also way more engaging. We're using that everywhere, both for webinars, for our PPC campaigns, for everything. And so, yeah, huge lift.
And if you do what Kate said with the second net, you still have the form, but then you have the option to engage with the chatbot too. We've seen customers actually increase the overall conversion rate on that page.
Yeah, huge.
Because of both.
Always.
Awesome. Question from Nicole. She asked if what she should do to prepare in terms of like budgeting and resources. Do you need? She's asked specifically if you need like a person dedicated to this, or what would you suggest there?
Yeah. So perfect question. I will challenge every single business out there. I challenge each one of you to tell me that where you don't have somebody in your business that wants to talk to your customers and your future customers, right? Like, there are people sitting in every organization today that want to have a conversation, that are looking to have conversations. And so I would not look at this and say, oh, I cannot put chat in until I hire 3 people, or I hire 2 people, or I hire 1 person. I need a full-time employee for this, and this lift is so heavy, and oh my goodness, like 100% no. Like, I know that all of you have PRs out there who essentially go in and pick up the phone book every day and are like making so many dials and sending so many emails and doing all these things to try to get all these people to talk to them. But like, there are people on your website today that want to talk to you. They want to talk to your organization. They want to start that conversation. You're not doing it. And it's like, just use some of the ammo or some of the hours, the time that you're dedicating to those folks to have conversations on chat.
And it only requires a couple hours a week, 2-3 hours, because you have all of the copy on your website already. Like, that's what we recommend to get started with Drift, or to get started with building a chatbot.
Building chatbot. Yeah,
you have the copy on your website. That's what you would use inside of the bot conversation.
It's not only on your website, but it's in your email campaigns. It's everywhere. And so one of the things that I think about all the time, and that we think about in order to be as efficient as we possibly can be, is like, how are we squeezing the juice out of every single thing we can? So like, if we do a webinar, how do we transfer that into a white paper or an ebook or whatever, or then a podcast, and then use the messaging that we got there into our chatbot message too. And so you have to think about it that way.
Love that.
Awesome. Well, guys, we're going to take one more question. We're getting towards the hour here. Melissa asked if bots can be and should be integrated into other marketing technologies she's using.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's how you get huge lift out of all the technology. And so I am in the same seat as all of you are, right? And Mark's in that same seat too. And so we've all spent so much money on marketing automation platforms. And so I'm always thinking about, like, how do I get more out of that? How do I get better ROI on that? How do I how do I just amplify that as much as I possibly can? How can it do more for me?
Yep.
And I think Drift is one of the ways that you go do that in a major way. And so we released conversational ABM, where you can actually integrate with, let's just say, you can do this for Marketo, you can do this for Pardot, you can do it for pretty much any marketing automation platform you're using today, which is in Marketo, you have a smart list, right? You've divided up your database into different smart lists. So maybe you have a smart list of people that are going to an event that you're hosting, or a smart list of folks that are in your tofu stage, right? Top of funnel stage. You can actually integrate Drift with that. And so then when those tofu leads come back to your website, you can actually use that smart list to then target them with what the nurture stream would be that you're sending those folks, right? So just hear me out for 1 second. So we've spent as marketers all this time building these nurture streams. Like email 1 is going to be like, welcome, we're so happy you're here, blah, 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 blah. Try this top of funnel content, right? And then email 2 is like, hey, I was just thinking about you. We are having this webinar on Wednesday. You should try this out, right? Like we do that all the time. And so we're constantly thinking about nurturing. But like the game of email, even though so many people are using it still, is that like it's just a game of percentages, right? It's like 15% of the people are going to open that email, 20% of the people are going to click on that email or reply to that email. And then it's like, what about the 85% of people that never opened, right? What about those people? And so like, we are not in charge of the customer journey. We can fool ourselves into thinking that we are, but we're just not. The reality is we aren't. People are not going directly from the email you sent on Tuesday back to your website, and then they're not going directly from the email you send them on Thursday back to your website. So that flow is broken. They are dictating what.
Yep.
And you can help them, right, for when they do come back to that site to get them that right offer, right? What you decided was the next best action for them to.
I think that's so smart. I'll just say we are starting to use more and more of behavioral lead scoring, and you have lists for behavioral lead scoring. That's exactly what Kate's saying. Based off of behaviors, and like if you're getting them back to your website through email, that's great, but most likely you're probably not. When they come back and they've exhibited these behaviors, let's welcome them with a personal message and a way to engage with them.
What's the next best thing that you want them to do? And you're already thinking about that with your nurture streams. So just implement those same offers in your chatbot offer.
Spot on.
Awesome. Mark, I want to thank you. These really great insights from the study, really great examples. So I think this will be really helpful to our audience. So thank you both.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, guys. This wraps up our series. I want to do a quick reminder about our upcoming event in Boston, August 12th to the 13th, which will be here at the Encore. Hopefully you can join us. This wraps up the series. Reminder, you can go back and view all the sessions on demand and share them with your peers. Thanks again for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you on a future event.